I need a theme song.
I'm horrible at coming up with songs right off right off the cliff.
Well, we're live now, I think. So hello, internet.
Hello,
Good,
everyone.
good to see you. I'm very happy today. First of all, just to get to see Nature, your face, because it's been a while since I've seen you in person. And I'm so glad to have this conversation with you today. Every time I'm with you, I feel like there's a kindred of spirits, and I feel uplifted by your worldview, or at least expanded. You know, like you have a healing energy about you. So I look forward to talking to you about what's happening with someone with that kind of mindset. And and hi.
Hello.
In Nature, I'm going to ask you to describe yourself because I bungled it on the invite. But I'd love to have you describe what it is you do and what kind of service you offer the world. Like what's your gig, man?
So I am a Reiki practitioner. I help people understand the energetic body,
Hmm.
and I help people. I hold space for people's healing of this space. And the energetic body is, I mean, we're all made of electricity. We all have a circuitry system. And as much as we have a physical body, we have an energetic body.
Mm-hmm.
And the difference is that we can see the physical body and we can't see the energetic body. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of people who don't understand the energetic body. I recently in January, I received inguinal surgery, hernia surgery.
Mm.
And I woke up and I was doing Reiki on myself.
Yeah.
And the lady, self Reiki is awesome, by the way. If any of you Reiki therapists have Reiki under your belt, one thing that's missing from Reiki in the Western culture is self Reiki.
Yeah.
We think that we need to be Reikiing someone else, but we can Reiki ourselves and we can heal ourselves, because the best work that can be done is on ourselves. No one can heal you. I can't heal you, Eric. I can only hold space for your healing. And the more space I hold for my own healing, the more space I can hold for yours.
Yeah.
But I was doing Reiki on myself, and the lady was a nurse, and she said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, I'm doing energy work on myself." And she looked at me and she says, "Do you work for PG&E?" And at that point, instead of getting upset and wanting to call a new nurse, which that flashed through my mind, like, next.
This is not my paradigm.
I realized that it was my space to inform her on what energy was,
Yeah.
why it's important to understand, and what she can do in her space of being a nurse. You know, you can actually, you don't have to be a Reiki practitioner to heal and work with energy.
Exactly.
You just have to know that it exists.
Yeah.
So I offer. Go ahead.
Really, like people can get very caught up in the brand nameness of Reiki. Like it's a frequency, but these frequencies, they're not locked behind doors. I don't think.
No.
I think they're freely available. And what Reiki, I think, does when you get into attunement is someone brings through a very powerful force for you that you can feel, that suddenly you can recognize inside your system, and that kind of grows in you. Like the circuitry opens up, and you have this tangible experience of it, and then that allows you to kind of expand that pathway.
Reiki is a specificity. I can't with that word right now. Reiki is a specific form of energy work that was created by Dr. Usui. And he came up with these principles and came up with this technology or terminology for energy work that is followed by these Japanese symbols and la la la. But energy work is energy work. Reiki is a specific caveat of energy work. But
and he got a lot of this information from older Tibetan practices. Like some of these symbols and Tibetan practices go back 1,000 years or
Yeah.
more, maybe 5,000, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. So I offer energy work, healing, and Reiki. I do something called joy embodiment coaching, um, where we understand how to capture and retain our embodiment of joy. Because it's really great when we have something happen and we're like really able to experience joy. Like, for instance, a butterfly landing in front of you. But then, 5 minutes later, someone cuts you off and there goes your joy because you're pissed now.
yeah.
And so how do we retain this embodiment of joy so that when someone cuts you off, you go, namaste, brother, you must need to be somewhere, man. Like still be able to be in peace with yourself, and not let it be taken away from you. Also, if we're embodying joy, we have to embody emotion.
Yep.
Meaning, I'm not always going to be joy. I'm not always going to be happy. I'm not always going to be feeling great. And what to do with that when that comes in, allowing that kind of energy to have a place to go instead of putting up a wall and saying, oh, I'm upset, I can't deal with that. Some people call it spiritual bypassing, like, oh no, I'm too good to be angry. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, no, we would not have dark if it wasn't for light. We wouldn't have light if it wasn't for dark. So what do we do with this energy that supposedly doesn't serve us, but maybe may have a lesson to teach us?
Sure.
And then last but not least, I touch people. I'm a certified massage therapist, body worker, and I do a combination of energy body work with physical body work. So I would say that I'm a clinical massage therapist. If we were to just do massage, I'm specifically looking at treating ailments, or lack of range of motion, um, adhesions, trauma places in the bodies that have built up, and then I combine that with some energy work to break the energy that's related to that. And maybe sometimes people will, scream or cry or laugh or dance because we're working on the physical and the energetic component of
Yeah.
the body at the same time.
Brilliant. That's so great. I think that what you talked about a few seconds ago is a great topic that we could dive in for the entire hour or two. The feeling of emotion, the working with it, and what skills are required to do that effectively on the fly, in the middle of go time.
Yeah.
Because we're definitely in a go time, although we do have lots of contemplation time too. But all that inner work that you might have done really comes in handy this month.
Ooh, child. So, I think you hit it on the head. One thing that I do know about humans is that we are highly empathic.
Yeah.
And we're made of I think it's 85% water. And I don't know if you know of this study that they did where they talked to the water crystals. And
Okay.
if you talk to water crystals and you say negative things, they will look like dysmorphed and ugly. And then if you speak positive, really high vibration things, you can actually see the crystals. They look like they're dancing. They look like they're singing. They look happy.
Yeah.
So that's us.
Dr. Emoto, I think it's Emoto. Dr. Emoto, is that he has
I believe so.
He has a book. He has several beautiful coffee table books. I think one's called The Hidden Messages of Water. I'll have to look it up. But it's one of those things that once you see it,
right,
your eyes, there's an instant recognition. You really get it. And it was also highlighted in that movie, What the Bleep Do We Know? That was when I first encountered his work.
Yes. And so what's happening is we're getting so much information from outside sources right now.
Yeah.
Tons of it. The news, friends, your mom, your dad, your roommate. So we're getting all of this outside information and we're absorbing it into our energetic body and our physical body. And most of it isn't ours. And so what's happening is a lot of people are feeling dense, feeling heavy, feeling dark, but what's actually yours and what's someone else's is the question, the main question. And so what's really been helping me is to meditate
Yeah.
and to clear my energetic body,
Yes.
so that I can be one with what is mine,
Yeah.
and not everyone else's, because we have all of these things coming from outside forces, and then we're all destroyed at the end of the night, right before this meeting. I'm reading this book called Reiki for Life. If you've never read it, it's a really, really good book. And in the book, I think it's chapter 15, she talks about good ways to cleanse your energetic body.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, you do not have to do or receive Reiki to cleanse your energetic body. Let me say that again. You do not have to do or receive Reiki to cleanse your energetic body. And what do you have to lose right now?
Hey, Nature, do you need Reiki to do this?
Not at all. So one thing that was talked about in the book was taking a cold shower, because it clears the boogies out of your energetic body. The boogies. I'm sorry, that was so like fifth grade.
This is why I love you. This is why I love talking to you, because you're so relatable, and I love the way you translate these big concepts into very relatable things. The boogies.
Exactly. Everyone knows what boogies are. We don't want them. So what we're doing is, hopefully you have a shower head that you can take off, like one of the handles. If you don't, you can still do it with like a jar of water, a big jar, like a big pickle jar.
Yeah.
But let's just say you have that handle handy. We would start sweeping water. And this is the people who hate cold water, because I hate cold water. So I just want to start by saying this is not a long process. This takes about 15 to 20 seconds.
Okay.
And then you can turn the water back onto hot and you will be fine. But you take a shower head and you sweep on your legs, and then you go up to your middle of your body, and then you go to the back of your body. And if you understand what chakras are, what you're doing is you're trying to wash away any negative energy from your chakras. And we can talk about the chakras and it's basically a Sanskrit. The word chakras is Sanskrit for wheels, and wheels are they're energetic wheels in our body that control certain forces in our body.
Yeah.
But so what we're trying to do is we go to the back first and we cleanse those chakras in the back. And if you don't know what chakras are, just imagine that you're cleaning your spine. You go up and down your spine, because that's where the center of the chakras are. And so we're going up and down the spine, and then we do the arms, and then we do the front of the body. So just imagine if your spine had a front, you'd be cleansing the front of your spine. And then you go to your legs again, and you do your feet, and you're done. You turn the hot water on and you shower just as you normally would. You will feel incredible after you're done, because you have now cleansed your energetic body.
I love this idea. Can I tell you kind of some of my theory on well, the way I think about cleansing energetically is that, for instance, what you're doing is you're bringing awareness of these centers in your body to your mind. Like it's a very tangible, felt, visceral thing that you're going through. And as you do that, you're reconnecting your brain, your cognition, and you're getting those neural circuits to pay attention to these parts of your body. And as awareness goes there, intelligence goes there as well.
Correct.
It's like that brain power starts to run this much more efficiently. It also starts to take some inventory, like just becoming aware. You're like, well, what is happening there? There's something there. There's some feeling there. There's some place my energy circuitry is not flowing very easily, and that may be something I have to address, or at least that may be something I need to tune into and observe. And
that is so pertinent. Is to bring your attention to your body, your somatic awareness, and understanding, okay, what am I feeling exactly in this moment?
Yeah.
And then not only what am I feeling, but what can I do about the way I'm feeling? For instance, if you have like a little tension in your shoulder because you've brought your awareness to your shoulder, oh, maybe you want to move, maybe you want to stretch, maybe you want to do some range of motion and
Mhm.
get opening in that shoulder. And now you're not only physically clearing energy, you are energetically clearing energy. The left shoulder is our maternal lineage and our maternal uh, energy that we're holding on to. So if you have tension with your mom or just tension with women in your life, you may have a lot of tension on your left side. And the same with not the same, but the same with the right side, it's your masculine side. So
Yeah.
it's like, if you're feeling like you need to protect your family as a man, and you're feeling like you don't know how you're going to protect your family because the world is like going to end in 2 days and
Yeah.
there's a lot going on, you may have a lot of tension in your right shoulder. So if you open that shoulder and you do some kind of range of motion clearing, maybe look in some yoga, do some downward dog,
Yeah.
do some kundalini stretches, you can actually cleanse the energy of that area and the physicality of that area. So you can really benefit from just being aware of what's happening in your body, because um you know we had some discrepancy with you calling me a healer, because I genuinely feel like I am no, I am not your healer. I genuinely know that I can create space for you to do your own work. Because if you have your awareness
Mhm.
somewhere, there is your healer.
Yeah.
Being aware of what is going on inside of your body is what the healing is all about.
Yeah. And there's a concept in many different medical systems that where your attention goes, healing flows. So
Mm,
you don't, and I think that's one of the brilliant things about Reiki that people can get very focused on. Oh, I need this specific attunement, or I have to go through the process. But there is an innate energetic process built into your body that as you tune into the energy flows, intelligence flows there. Like your perception, your ability to understand the terrain of what's happening, your understanding of being able to operate in that terrain, by mapping out what's happening energetically in your body, you start to associate different thought forms with energetic flows in your body. You start to associate different physical states, and when you map that out, you know how to navigate. You're like, oh, I'm feeling this way. I probably need a little downtime. I probably need a little self-care. Maybe I should just put my hands on my heart and just pay attention to what this little knot thing is happening here. And then there's the wonderful. I love the idea of the hands. Like when I learned Reiki, the first thing we did was put the hands on either side of these different energy centers in our body and
mhm,
just try to feel the circuitry. It's trying to
mhm.
feel the energy flow through those particular circuits. And it's like a garden hose. Some of those garden hoses get a little clogged because they haven't been, like a big bunch of gunk is moving through it. And we need to maybe massage the hose a little bit to get that flowing and to digest everything that's happening to us.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really important to not only understand where you have blocks and where you may have clogs, but also if your home may have a clog or a block in it.
Yeah.
When we're walking throughout a day, we walk through everyone's crap. When we're walking in a shopping center, everybody's negative attitude, everyone's crap that they're toting around with them is like dropped onto the floor.
Yeah.
And that's where the strongest density of negative energy is on the floor. And so we'll walk in from all of that, and then we'll walk into our house, and God forbid we don't take our shoes off.
Yeah.
And so we're tracking all of that negative energy in our house. And so we're wondering, why am I so mad? Why am I so funky? And it's like, you just brought Tom, Jim, Joe, Sally, Rebecca, Natalie, Sarah, Jamie's energy into your house. And it wasn't their good energy that you left, because you're not like walking on the ceiling where all of the better energy is. You're walking on the ground where all of the dense negative energy is.
Yeah.
So it's really important to take your shoes off, not just for physical dirt, but for energetic dirt. And then you want to regularly cleanse your house. So someone who's Reiki certified, I am going to go and do Reiki symbols in each corner of my room, and then fill up the room with Reiki and cleanse it. But you can easily just take like a bell. You know,
Yeah.
you don't have to be Reiki certified to take a bell and ring it in the corner. That's going to move some frequency and clear out any negative energy, because it doesn't like that high frequency that a bell is going to give.
Yeah.
And so you're
I like,
consciously ringing the bell, but you're also saying with intention, hey, I'm ringing this bell to clear out any negativity in this space. So you're consciously, making the choice to remove negative energy as you ring the bell.
I love that. Ring. It reminds me of
Ring the alarm.
some of my favorite teachings on energy clearing. I used to belong in a little coven of pagans, and I think the first thing I ever yeah, you knew that about me, right? I'm a Christian. I feel like I'm a Christian mystic now, but I definitely had a good. I have a deep connection to the pagan community, and one of the first lessons I ever got was the cleansing. It was a house blessing, and they went through the house, and the very first thing they did was wipe down everything with water. It was like salt water, like sprinkle that shit, up in the corners, up where the cobwebs are. And I started to think, like, what is happening here? Like, yes, we're cleaning a house, but also, we would do a thing where we'd start at the top and go counterclockwise, and then the middle of the room, and then the floorboards. And I noticed just like looking at the corner of the cobwebs, I became aware of, like, oh, that there's energy there. There's a cobweb there. I haven't connected to that part of the house and made it my own. It's sort of sitting in the back of my subconscious in my shadow realm, and looking at it, throwing water at it. There's a psychological connection of I am clearing, and the psyche understands symbols so well, especially physical spatial symbols. We really connect to that. We really understand that. It informs our map of reality. And then we did the salt water. Then we did the incense. That was fun. Fire, like bringing a candle around, and like seeing a flame, but seeing a flame associated with a certain corner of our room. And I love the bell, because sound, oh my God, like a good chime is it attunes you so quickly. It wakes you up. You're like, wow, everything is
And
like, wow.
a lot of people have Tibetan singing bowls in their home, and they don't have any idea how to use them. And that's okay, because you don't have to know how to use it properly to actually use it effectively, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So the proper way to use a singing bowl is to go around the rim, and you get the bowl to sing. But you can take the dowel, and you can just tap the bowl.
Yeah.
And most people know how to tap a bowl with the dowel.
Yeah.
And so if you have a singing bowl, you can take that instead of a bell, and you can tap. I was trying to think if I have some of my little, I'll show you guys really quickly.
Yes.
So I have some of these special Tibetan bells. And so we just bring these together, and we just kind of go.
I love it. All the things that it informs the brain of, you're hearing frequency, you're hearing the decrescendo of sound that's still, that one of my favorite things is when you ring those chimes is listening. You're like, I can still hear it. I can still hear it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you become really aware of the nature of vibration, and the kind of topology the vibration goes through.
Yes. It's one of the things that that helps us create magic. And if we have ever been in a time where we could use magic, this is the time.
Magic.
Yes. I strongly believe in magic, and I work with it. And it's something that works for me and not everybody. I had a friend when I made a post on Facebook and I said, oh my gosh, my magic is really working for me. This, and this has happened. And she said, it wasn't magic. It's because you're a good person and you have good karma. And I'm like, who's to say that karma isn't magic, first of all? But second of all, that's my magic that works for me. You don't have to believe in magic for my magic to work for me.
Yeah.
You know, we all believe in a certain frequency of things that work for us. Do what works for you.
Yeah.
You know, whether you're pagan, you believe in a higher God or a hierarchy, whether you don't, whether you know, worship the devil. I don't get, as long as it's working for you, do it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to share what's working for me.
Yeah.
And how those things have benefited me and shown me how to still create smiles in a time like right now. You know, like it's a very fortunate thing to be able to smile in a time like right now. There's a lot of adversity that I'm up against. My daughter lives in Minneapolis, for instance.
Yeah.
I live in Oakland, California. So in a time like now, it's a very nerve-wracking place to not understand when I'm going to see my daughter again. She would have been here in 2 days for her spring break.
Oh.
Yeah, she would be here. What's today? Wednesday. She would be here Friday. But she's not coming because of COVID, and I have no idea when I'm going to see her next. But I know that everything is the way it's supposed to be, because if I was supposed to be with her, I would be with her, but I'm not. And so that's okay. And I can create space for the abundant feeling of love that we're going to share for each other. Usually when we see each other, although, you know, it's 2 or 3 times a year, it's just like, oh, great. You know, I'm seeing you, because we take for granted that we can jump on a plane and that we can hug each other and that we can be in the same space as each other. But I don't think we're going to take that for granted anymore after an experience like this.
No. Even being connected like this on the internet has been its own. You know, I'm watching this stream and I feel this handhold across the planet. You know, touching you and just seeing the little line. It looks like a little heartbeat, like a little EKG machine. And every once in a while, it drops, and I'm like, you know, stay tethered. You know.
Yeah.
By the way, Richard's listening. He's a good friend of mine, and he's throwing you lots of loves, and I think he's enjoying your message. He was saying, I have the same. When you walk in his door in his apartment in Berlin, he has little chimes ready to go. Like, I'm left the material world, cling, I'm home.
Clear your energy before you get in here. And it's not even, people don't consciously go, I want to tack on all of the negative energy from everyone and bring it with me. Our auras are so vast, you know. Our auric field can go as large as 60 feet, and some of the masters and some of the, you know, like gurus and masters of the spiritual realm, theirs could be even double that. And so you can be walking in a block, and what a block, how many feet would you say a normal block is? What, 800 feet?
Yeah.
Okay, so we could say a block is 800 feet. If you're a guru master and you're walking down the block, you're taking on 4 houses at a time of energy.
Yeah.
And you're not conscious of taking on that energy, but your aura is out there like, hey, y'all, how you doing? Like, because we're meant to be friendly. We're meant to be giving. We're meant to be loving. And so that's our aura. Our aura is like that already. And so we're just like hanging out with all these people, and then we take on all of the negative stuff. And so it's really important, Richard, to have those bells. And now, you know, after this situation, I don't know if you're having people over right now, but after this situation, you're going to want to, like, anytime someone walks in those doors, you're going to bing, you're going to clear a little of their energy and your own. So when you come home, you take those bells, ding. I have a singing bowl right by my entryway so that I can clean the frequency and sage. And so I'm saging as I get in, I'm dinging bells when I get in, and anybody else would think I'm crazy, and I don't care because I feel good.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing what works for me.
Yeah. I do the shower. As soon as I come home, I do a shower, and it's both it's a biologically sound thing to do, especially when you've got microbes all over you. You've been like when you go to the grocery store, I'm like, I take all my clothes off, lay them out in the sun, take a shower, and then just I have that wonderful peace of mind. Like I
Yeah.
feel like I've done something, and that's such a powerful effect.
Well, I wish I had sunshine here, but it's like we've had 4 days of rain. We had 1 day of sunshine yesterday, and today it's like a little gloomy and cloudy. So I can't really put my clothes in the sun, but I have been washing them, which makes me feel like a horrible human because I'm washing clothes every day. And I'm the kind of person, call me a dirty hippie, but I wear my clothes like 2 or 3 times
Yeah,
before I wash them, typically,
yeah,
because I want to have a less of a footprint on the world.
sure.
And if as long as I don't like stress sweat, because when I stress sweat, woo, you do not want to be around. But as long as I'm not stress sweating, then then I will, I can use my clothes a few times, and right now I can't. It's just not smart to wear the same thing twice.
Yeah,
So that's a little hard on me because I feel weird washing so much. I'm
yeah,
never, washing every day, But this is what we got to do right now.
yep. It's okay. We'll just take a break. Just do it.
Yeah.
You remind me of another meditation that one of my teachers taught me like almost a decade ago. It was called the Meditations of the Portals. And it's the idea
Mhm.
that every time you leave a room or leave a kind of specific bubble of reality, to pay attention to the doorway that you're about to walk through. Like just leaving your apartment. And as you are about to cross that threshold, you're paying attention to, in thankfulness to what occurred in that space. You're being
Mhm.
mindful of where you've been, and then you're being kind of intentionally mindful of where you're going. And I find that's kind of a nice cleansing too, because you're kind of tapping into some gratitude there, and you're setting the tone for what you want to be walking into, so that whatever happens to you, you've kind of preset the intention somewhat. You're,
Mhm.
you're letting the events that will unfold in that journey into the new space be informed and informed what your intention is.
Mm.
It plugs into it. If you say like, oh, I'm going to the grocery store. I'm gonna feel safe. I'm gonna feel powerful. I'm gonna feel abundant and actually have some joy of seeing other faces for a minute.
And I'm gonna feel protected.
Protected, yeah, exactly.
It's a good time for protection. But yeah, wonderful to project um, what you see that space doing for you,
Yeah,
because we can actually create that as our reality.
yeah.
The space that I'm living in right now,
So
I manifested,
yeah,
I projected, I meditated, and I said, these are the things that my space needs. I said I wanted
yeah.
to be in the hills. I said the kind of people that I wanted to own the home. I
Mhm.
set my intention for my budget. And I said exactly what it looked like that it was supposed to be, and it's even better than what I asked for.
And I want to be moved in before lockdown.
So I didn't know about that part. The my guides were like, yeah. It was funny because I didn't have any kind of a rush to move my things from my old place or a rush to get in here, but
Yeah,
something said, move everything the same day, like get it all out, don't lag, don't wait, just do it. And I was like, oh, but that means I can't be lazy and like take 2 weeks to do this, which is what I would have loved to do. But my guides were like, you got to get everything moved. And then like 2 days after I got moved in, the lockdown happened.
amazing.
And I was like, oh, okay, maybe that's why I was supposed to move everything right away. So everything kind of worked itself out.
Did you find yourself like I've looked back, 2 months before this, and I was getting all kinds of crazy messaging internally. It was like you need to, one of them was like you need to work on putting information out there for rapid paradigm shift. And at the time, I was like, no one cares about this. Everyone's planning for summer. No one really gives a shit about paradigm shift. Like why do I want to put that out? And then boom, a month later, it's like, oh yeah, we're all very concerned with rapid paradigm shift all of a sudden?
Yeah, I got a lot of messages on wrapping up any loose ends.
Yeah,
It was just like tie it all up,
yeah,
move out of the space that isn't serving you, finish up this project, do this thing now. And I was
yeah.
just like, wow, geez, calm down. And it was like, no, you need to do this now. And I was just like, okay, like guys, you're like a little aggressive. And sure
Love
enough,
guides.
yeah. Um, Here we are in this time where I would have needed to not have a lot of loose ends and not be living in a place that doesn't serve me.
Yeah,
And actually sharing a wealth of information. At first, this was really, really difficult for me, as it was for most people,
yeah,
and it's still not easy, but I was very specific to making sure that I gave myself healing before I tried to give anything to anyone else.
yeah,
Um, so I'm now able to share the things that are working for me and the things that I would like to help people with. But at first, it was like there was no room for that. I had to meditate. I had to take baths. I had to get in a ritual and a routine. I had to start cooking. I had to get acclimated with my new space.
yeah,
It's a great space, but it still was new and wasn't really mine yet.
yeah,
So there was all these things that needed to take place before I could share and open up, because I see so many people on the internet giving and sharing and opening and like, hey, I'm offering this, I'm doing that. And it's like, all right, but are we making sure that we hold space for ourselves first?
yeah. Yeah, that's healer 101, isn't it? Like,
There ain't no healing if you ain't healing yourself.
yeah,
And if I am a healer, that's who I'm a healer to, is myself, because
yeah.
that's who we all are healers to, is
So
ourself.
you sharpen your best skills there.
Lots of learning to do all up in here. Okay.
Yeah, you're like, well, let me see what happens when I do this, and then you get the immediate feedback. You're like, well, that didn't work. Ooh, ooh, that worked. Let's do that again.
Yeah. Yeah. I really appreciate you, Eric, because when I first met you, you recognized me for my genuine form. And you spoke really beautifully to my heart.
Oh,
We met in Hawaii on a black sand beach on
wait,
a
I gotta set the scene. I gotta set the scene. I come out of the water. I've been swimming around the coral reef. I come out of the water, and I hadn't ever seen you before, and I think I just plopped down next to you, or no, you said hi. You said hi, and you had this is Kahana Beach, because it's a black sand beach, and you had this beautiful dusting of like Pele's fine grain lava sand, just like grazing your face, and you looked like you just emerged out of the earth, like it was you were merged with it, and even the coloring, like the rocks on the shore, it was all like the same coloring as your features. I was like, who is this like earth, this earth being that just emerged out of the beach? I'm like, is this real? Did I have a pot brownie on the way down? I can't remember. So it's a dramatic entrance.
it was such a wonderful day that day, to be accepted by you, and you just have such a warm embrace, and you're so loving, and you're so intelligent, and to have you, someone who is so like, you're pretty put together, to come to me and just say, hey, this is what I see in you, and this is I feel a lot of power coming from you. It was really, really affirming, but also just really heartfelt, to just feel such a good vibration coming from you, and and the way that we interacted. Our first meeting was great, and then I think we like hung out for a few days after
Yeah,
that.
we went like across the island. We went all the way over. We went from the east side of Puna all the way to the west side, and had a whole
Yeah,
day for a day or two.
yeah, the little coffee shop with all of the good music and
Yep,
all of that. We had some
yep.
good times,
I
but
had a
yeah.
little I'm blanking on the Holualoa. I had a little bitty office in Holualoa up on the side of the mountain
Mhm.
west. We
That
hung
was
out.
really cool.
Woke up to the rooster party. Remember the roosters? The roosters at like 4 a.m. were just having like an unbelievable circuit party or something where they were just all like, "Wah, wah, wah, wah." It was like, give me
You
the
know,
shotgun.
there's something about the island where even if you get woken up by roosters, you don't feel upset. It's just so
Yeah,
like nurturing. Um,
yeah, it's very alive. I mean, you're like, this is life. This is
mhm.
nature. There's no buffer.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, it's been a really good it's been a really good time since then, and I've learned a lot since that day that we met, and understanding my artistry. Um, at that time, go
You
ahead.
what I recognized in you is that you spoke fluent frequency language. You know, the you were really great at finding words that rode on a wave of frequency, and I could detect that wave of frequency that was coming out of you, and how you allowed your thoughts to be selected by it. And to me, like, that's something that I've been trying to work on in my own life. So seeing someone skillful in that area, it's like, oh wow, this is something that I've been working on. He's been doing it too. Like, it's really
Mhm.
enjoyable to transmit and communicate on that level.
Mm,
That's what I was experiencing that day.
mm. Yeah, what a beautiful day. Um, yeah, I allowed my frequency to be channeled into artwork since that day.
Oh,
I have, um, how do I say this? I had this idea to make artwork out of the chakras. And I was unsure at how I was going to execute, but I knew that it was necessary that I do so. Um, and I guess this is a little bit of a shameless plug on my artwork, but
yes,
I
please.
took I took 7 shadow boxes and I made them into chakras, into physical versions of the chakras,
Oh,
based on my knowledge of them and what they mean to me and what they show up for in me. And I did all 7 of them, and I feel like, you know, it took me about a year after we met, but I feel very close to the fact that something ignited when we met that
yep.
helped me move forward because you are an action person. You're very much the kind of person who is like, you think about something, you sit within your heart space, and then you go. You're not like the kind of person who's going to sit with an idea for too long and not move in move in that direction.
Yeah.
And that was something that I learned from you. I was like, oh yeah, I can do things. I can move in the direction of the way I feel. I can understand vibrations and transmit them into actual things and goals and reality. And it took a little while. I was still like fighting my old wounds, and trying to like deal with my past so that I could actually be present enough to explore my future and my present. But yeah, I am so excited that I was able to do that project, and I now have 7 pieces
Hmm.
of art that represent the chakras.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So it's really fun. Would you like to see one?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'd love to see that.
So the chakra that I have the most difficulty with
Mhm.
is I'm gonna let you guess. I'm gonna let you guess.
Oh,
Hmm.
well, let's see. Would it be? I don't think it's the heart chakra. I don't think it's the throat chakra.
Mm-mm.
Um, is it the? mm, is it the stomach chakra? The the Go ahead.
The sacral, which is lower abdomen.
Hmm.
Um, Now, our sacral chakra is our emotions, our creativity, our sex, our passion. And so that's a chakra that I've always had a little bit of issues with because I used to have issues with self-work, which
Yep.
are which are held in the root chakra, but the root and the sacral work together so much. So the most important piece of this project was the sacral for me. All right.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Oh, wait. Oh, wow. Wow.
So that is, the sacral is sacred, right? And so we have Buddhas, we have goddesses, we have
Art,
the
activity.
color. The art is actually a vagina, because creation is, we are created from the vagina. Uh, so it's an art piece, but it's also creation, so we created art out of something that creates us. And then I got a little Buddha down here, little orange Buddha that I actually molded myself. And a carnelian. And actually, if you look really closely at that walnut, it actually has little Buddha heads all over it.
Mm.
So it's just a little self kind of like shrine of what I feel the sacral chakra means. And it really helped me when I was making this project heal that space in myself.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just me making art. I was actually using the project to heal that space in my body, and understand my creative flow, and understand my abundance of sexual energy, and understand this emotion that I'm so passionate about. I am such an emotional person. So what do I do with all of this? And it was really fun. And I did all 7. So I did the third eye, I did the crown, I did the heart, and the solar plexus, the root. I made sure that all of them happened, and it was really, really healing.
What I love about art, and what art can sometimes do, is that we have in our awareness, our brain, we have the map of everything we know, that we kind of traverse over and over again. We're like, I know what that is. I know what that is. I know what this furniture in my house is. And then we have this field of kind of the dream world that emerges from our emotions and emerges from our body. And even deeper than that is probably emerging from the collective unconscious, the primordial life, the circuitry that wires back 5 million years into the first bits of life on the planet. Like there's these messages and needs that are arising up out of that space. And art is kind of one of the most fantastic bridges between those worlds, where we can kind of try to access those things and turn them into something that we understand, we can manipulate, we can feel, we can symbolically play with, and it wires that into our brain where we can actually work with it. We're not surprised by it. We're in touch with it. We're moving it. We're influencing it, making it pretty.
So important to have some kind of relation to those other worlds, because we're a part of them, but we don't get to access them very much. I feel like you can access them in deep meditation. You can access them with really, really good music, and I think art.
Yeah.
Yeah. maybe dream world, but I don't really access many of my dreams very much as of lately. I've been trying to consciously access more of my dream state, but I don't know what's going on in there that my body doesn't want to know about, because I can't, as of right now, it has not been able to show up.
It's also that like soul world. It's the way things come into our conscious awareness, and there's this gray zone that they pass through. That it's that feeling like, oh, I feel discontent, but I don't know why. And then that you might sit with that for a week or 3 days and start to feel into it. Like, what is this feeling? I don't know. I haven't had this feeling before. What's emerging? And
Right.
and then all of a sudden it starts to crystallize, or you start to give it form, and it plugs into your taxonomy and your map of reality. But so, sometimes that messaging is coming from, often it's coming from the soul. It's coming from something that it wants your personality, your operating system to catch up with. Like, oh, this is where we're at now. Come on, personality, catch up. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. What is your best, when you feel that your personality needs to catch up to where your spirit realm is? What exercises do you employ?
Well, the number one and two that tried and true are of course journaling, getting
Mm,
giving words to something, very much like art. Art is giving symbolic form to something. Journaling is giving language to something, exploring language, writing something down and actually feeling if that's, you see a sentence you write on your screen and you're like, does that actually express what this is? Is that some old words that I used? Is that actually what this really is? You can
yeah.
see it, and it gives that reflective ability because you're seeing it out.
Sorry, hold on. Someone's calling me.
Is that your healing chimes?
Sorry, I can't talk right now. Okay. All right. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Um, and in much the same way that talking your feelings out to someone and they can give you that reflection, you can get that reflection visually through writing things down. Seeing it on the computer screen, seeing it on a piece of paper allows me to assess what's happening with different circuitry in my brain.
Right.
The other one is meditation or contemplative activity. Like, I actually like sitting somewhat, but what I really like doing is putting on my headphones and going for an hour walk out and just like letting my body move, letting my thoughts sort of unreel themselves in
Yes.
some non-activity time. And that's usually where I do most of my meditation. And and also just like giving time for those ideas to birth. It often takes days or weeks, and shoot, some ideas take people a year or two to get to. It's like a slow birth. It's a slow
Yeah.
realization.
Well, the interesting thing for me is that it took me 7 years to come up with the balls, I should say, to do that project.
Oh,
That we just saw the sacral chakra.
right.
I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be shadow boxes. And then I was like, oh, okay. And then for 2 years, I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with the shadow boxes. And then another 2 years would go by, and it's like, oh, what if you combine spirituality with the shadow boxes? And I was like, oh, that's a really good idea. How am I going to combine spirituality with shadow boxes?
Yeah.
And then another year or two would go by and it's like, oh, you could actually make shadow boxes out of chakras. And then I sat with that for 2 years and I finally created the wit and the ball, the strength to execute that project. So I totally understand, needing to have a space, trying to get this to come up bigger on my screen. It's sorry.
This is kind of like, go ahead.
Needing to jot it down, needing to write it, needing to actually have a visual of some kind of tangible thing to allow it to come to its existence.
Yeah. I feel like that's such an important time. And this is what's been wonderful about this time for those of us who are kind of disconnected from our usual pattern. I'm not that disconnected because I'm usually working from home, but there's a lot of people who are sitting at home right now. And this is a time where, by stepping out of the automated behavior pathways, you have this time to actually give space to the formless and to feel into what's out there in the dark and in the shadow and let it start to come into your consciousness. And a
Yeah.
lot, through either distraction or just lack of personal time, a lot of people don't have the time and space, or they're not allowing themselves the time and space, or they're afraid to give themselves the time and space to let that information come through. And instead of coming through in a kind of easy, lovely, artistic, flowy, creative way, it sometimes comes through like a big bad wolf locked in the closet. That you're like, I don't want to look in there, it looks scary. And then all of a sudden when you're asleep, it's like, ah, total
Yeah.
panic attack, yay.
Yeah, and that's okay. We
Yeah,
must be okay with the scary part to get into the exciting part.
yeah,
It was terrifying to think about making art pieces that people are going to be able to now critique and tell me that they do or don't like. That
yeah,
was horrifying. And then what, am I actually going to be able to do it? Like when I get myself to sit down and finally start working on it, is it what's going to happen? You
yeah,
know, is it going to be good? Um, and then I got to the point where I was just like, let's move away from that narrative. Let's move away from the story about what it could be, what it won't be, what it should be. Let's move away from the fear. Let's move into the excitement about actually doing something. And
yeah,
I think that's where our greatest work comes from, is actually doing it, because there is no real such thing as bad art. When you're creating and you're creating from your heart. I mean, I've seen people who throw a pencil on a canvas and it's like $2,700. You know what I'm saying? Like literally throw a pencil on a canvas with some paint, but they had a reason why they did that. And
yeah,
like, what was the message? And, you know, lead in different forms of light, just, really interesting, like ideologies where they take their mindset and allow themselves to explore, and the excitement behind that makes good work.
yeah.
So, and that goes for anything. When you decide you want to become a doctor, when you decide you want to become a chef, it's you deciding that you're going to do something is what's going to create greatness from it.
Mm.
Simply that. I'm going to do it. If you do it, it's going to be amazing, and allow yourself to relish in that. What you do is going to be amazing, whatever it is.
That's a great message. Well, you're amazing. Oh, it's so good to hear your energy. This is great. This is great.
I'm really, really fortunate that we have kept in contact all of this time. And so you're in Athens right now?
Thessaloniki, Greece. Oh, Trish Slapped says, being okay with the scary parts of life is so important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Trish.
It's like, it's kind of, I've seen so many different reactions to what's happening. And I think that there's a lot of people who are into mindset and positive mindset. And of course, that has a huge place in this, like not stressing yourself out too much about what's happening. But I also appreciate the tactical part of my brain that has switched on in this. When I go out on the streets in Thessaloniki, my brain's like, it's almost like I see this 3D map of like, okay, that metal pole, don't touch that. Okay, this is a germ full area. How do we navigate this? And I feel this tactical part of my brain switch on, and I appreciate um, contending with your monsters in your mind ahead of time, not necessarily making them bigger than they need to be, but sometimes contending them with them actually causes you to not be afraid of them. You're like, okay, if this happens, what's the worst that could happen? Can I deal with that? What's the best way to get through this? How do I prepare for that? How do I want this to turn out? Can I try to route a pathway through that and identify it and give it energy? Am
Mm.
I prepared to deal with if it doesn't go to my expectation? Like how am I going to face that reality? And I find that can be really useful as long as it doesn't wear a person out or unnecessarily stress them out or remove resources from them.
Well, you
That can
said
be a great
something
idea.
earlier, um, which was really great, which is the work that we've done in the last 2 years is becoming very useful right now.
Oh,
And so if you haven't done any work in the last 2 years, you might want to stay away from that tactical mind as much as possible. You might want to get some grocery delivery. You might want to stay at home because it can be a little toxic.
yeah,
But if you know how to appropriately propagate what's happening in the tactical mind and explore it in a way where it does not tear you apart, I say go for it, because we need the tactical mind right now to protect us. But sometimes the tactical mind can actually destroy us. So we want to make sure that we're it's somewhere in the middle,
Yeah.
in protection and not being completely destroyed and obliterated. Because I've got some friends who are just like in real rough shape over this.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be. I'm not judging anyone. Everyone is dealing with this the way they need to.
Yeah.
And I am totally giving you all of my permission to deal with it whatever way you want to.
Yeah.
But I don't want to see anyone suffer.
This kind of brings up I'm a big fan of Aristotle because I'm really close to where his school was now. He he talks about the golden mean, nothing too extremes, and it's this idea that we are constantly sliding on a scale between too little and too much. And so the people who have too little of that tactical thinking, sometimes what happens then is that the thing that we're not prepared for actually sometimes scares us the most.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the unpaid taxes or the unpaid bill or the thing that we're like, oh no, I don't want to deal with that. But at the same time, it's becoming a bigger monster in the box it's trapped in than if we would just face it head on. And then on the other end, with the tactical brain, overclocks the mind, gets us to focus unnecessarily on a negative imagined reality that we might be stepping into, or actually giving so much energy that we create it, that we outpicture it in our reality. And that's kind of the other extreme. And there's this kind of sweet spot between those energies where we're alchemizing both needs, but we're finding that balance where we feel prepared. Like, I think of my mom. She is a planner. Like, if I tell my mom, yeah, I'll be over Sunday. Now she's in Arkansas, so I haven't been able to do this in a while. But if I say, hey, I'm coming over, tomorrow, she starts to stress out because she doesn't know when. She needs to know when. She wants to start planning for it, because that planning is the medicine that soothes her nervous system, feeling like she's prepared. And I think there's a lot of people with nervous systems like that want to feel prepared.
I love the way you put that. That planning is the medicine that soothes her nervous system. How many people don't know what medicine soothes their nervous system?
Yeah,
That's a beautiful way to understand, so that people can actually go, oh, what is my medicine to soothe my nervous system? Because that, like, right now, my medicine that soothes my nervous system is this onesie. It's like medicine. It's like all in one package. It's just but we should know. I love that. I love that. And continue.
Well, this brings up, I'm going to share this graphic. A week ago, we were talking about what do we want to talk about, and you said finding joy in times of coronavirus. And I almost got kind of snarky, because there is the, not snarky, but in working on mindset, sometimes there's also, people are also aware of the danger of spiritual bypass, or glossing over what really is necessary work to do. There's a kind of reaction in the zeitgeist to that, saying, yeah, that's nice, be happy, but also be real, please be real. And it came up, this, I'm going to see if I can share this real quick. This graphic spread like wildfire on the internet. Can you see that?
Let me see if I can get my screen to, no, I can't. I'm having issues. Oh, there we go.
Oh, okay. Well, this one went around, and I saw people post this on their Facebook page, and I saw it in radical fairy communities, people posting it. And some people were like, yes, I love this. And this is kind of an exploration of fear zone, learning zone, growth zone. And, fear zone is I grab food, toilet paper, and medications that I don't need. I spread emotions relating to fear and anger. I complain frequently. And then in the kind of neutral learning zone, I start to give up what I can't control. I stop compulsively consuming what hurts me from food and news. I identify my emotions. And it's creating a nice gradient of maybe more successful behaviors that will
Mm,
help a person be a little bit more stabilized, a little bit more resilient, maybe in a more resourced, settled state. And then it goes into growth zone where it's like I thank and appreciate others. I keep happy emotional state and spread hope. I look for a way to adapt to new changes. I think of others and see how to help them. And I saw a lot of people were like, oh, I love this because they liked having these behaviors articulated,
hmm.
especially the spectrum. It's really helpful to see gradients. I think gradients
Yes.
are such an intelligent thing when we have black and white thinking. But I also saw a lot of people react very negatively to this, saying, oh, this is so ableist. You know, what happens if a person can't be in that growth zone? And I was like, wow, look at this phenomenon that everyone is reacting kind of so negatively to this mindset approach to what's happening.
Well, and that's okay, because if you're in a negative mind, no one, I don't think anyone is allowing people to be in their negative mindset with like freedom. Like
Yeah,
here's the thing, we're gonna feel, and we're gonna, if we're feeling negative, we probably shouldn't be online spreading it like wildfire. But unfortunately, this is the only way for us to communicate. And so
yeah,
if someone's feeling down or bad or not enjoying their existence right now, or
yeah,
see something like this and go, this sucks, I don't like it,
right,
let them be with that,
yeah,
and so that's my approach, and everybody's a little bit different, but I'm like, look, we're dealing with something that has never been dealt with before by our great grandfathers, our great grandmothers, our fathers, our most of our ancestors that
yeah,
we know of haven't dealt with anything like this. So
yeah,
if you want to be negative Nancy and scream and cry and moan, it's like, go for it. Like whatever you need to do to process this, it's fine. But also try not to get stuck.
yeah, yeah,
Try to move forward and be able to understand, okay, I'm a little bit of a mood kill right now, and do some breathing, move your body, maybe try to go for a walk, and hopefully express something different um, after you've worked through that. But to tell someone, oh, they're negative and that's a bad thing right now, I don't align with that, because I feel like we need to be a little negative right now. Like it's okay to be a little negative right now. It's not
yeah,
it's not the end all be all, and that's not what I'm saying, but it's like I accept you for who you are.
yeah.
And I'm going to allow you to be in a space that makes sense for you. And some people need to be in a really, really messed up space. That's okay.
Yeah.
When you're ready to come out of that space, we can talk too.
I love that. I love that. And I think I think maybe that's some of I wouldn't say shortcoming, but it's something that needs to be addressed in mindset thinking, is that you don't necessarily have to feel okay if you see, for instance, people are very upset. They feel like their civil rights are kind of slipping, or that their constitutional rights are slipping. And, and that's maybe very appropriate to be upset, because you're noticing that there's something happening in the world that does not jive with your intentions and what you want to see or what you think is okay, and there's a very natural emotional reaction. I think of sometimes anger acts like the emotional immune system to what you're
Mhm.
seeing in the outside world, and that you get this surge of power, of voice, of action, of lava that comes up, and that lava can of course destroy everything, but can also be a generative act. It's like cooking things on the stove. You don't want to
Mhm.
leave you don't want to leave the fire on all day and burn your pan up, and fill your house with smoke, but like a little fire can really cook something powerful sometimes. And I think people are feeling that fire come up in them. So I want to go to the next slide. Well, this is the way people are they're feeling like the way Donnie Darko laid this out, where it's an oversimplified version of reality, just fear and love, two energies. And Donnie Darko is like, you can't just lump things into categories. Life isn't that simple. So in my radical fairy community, someone posted this as a reaction, which is like added another circle called the action zone. And it says, disrupt capitalism, throw down the oligarchs, break up monopolies, protect mountain, forests, and oceans, make art, empower women, support farmers, feed the poor, teach the children, take care of the sick. And I love it because it's kind of using that feeling that people are having and moving it into possibly the necessary action in the outside world where you're using your feelings to be creative. And it's maybe okay if you're not settled and super happy with the way things are in the moment.
Yeah.
Kind of like what you're
I I genuinely feel like we have different, we have different personality types.
yeah.
And everyone is going to fall into one of these categories naturally. And it's up to them to monitor where they have fallen and where they want to be.
Yeah.
If you want to be in the fear zone and that's where you are, great. If you want to be in the learning zone and that's where you are, great. Growth zone, action zone, all really good. What we want to monitor and what we really want to look out for is if we're in the fear zone and we wish that we were in the growth zone, if we're in the action zone and we want to be in the fear zone, we need to be where we're supposed to be and be okay with being where we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be my little 2 cents, is just being okay where we are, and making sure that we align. So don't be in the growth zone if you really need to be in the learning zone. Don't be in the learning zone if you really need to be in the action zone.
I would probably relabel these because literally learning is available in any one of these zones. Like people learn through fear all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Fear can be a brutal teacher or a loving teacher even. And also I think maybe where the growth zone is and the action zone, these are maybe zones of creative expression, where you're able to identify your vision or your spiritual vision or your intention and actually start to outpicture it or express it through your actions and your words. So I think that's kind of maybe a better way to describe what this is.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to show you my favorite zone. This is where the Radical Fairies took this chart and added projection zone, ascend to the 7th realm and fight the machine elves, which is probably a psychedelic reference. Astral project yourself to the nearest darkroom bar, take off your skin and dance till your bones fall out. Dress your pets up in drag and conduct a seance to contact Alex Sanders and ask him for scones recipe. How many crystals can you fit up there until it becomes too painful? Anyway, I just love this. Is like, yeah, it's a lot of us are here after being confined to our houses for weeks.
Yep. I would, you got to be able to entertain yourself.
Totally. All right. Back to a picture. Oh, so on the topic, just curious, what are you, how are you anchoring joy, or how are you aligning with it? It's clear joy
You're cutting out, you're cutting out.
You want to keep moving on. Okay, let me check the stream. Yeah, sorry, the connection just went unstable. The heartbeat, the EKG.
So I think what you asked is how am I embodying joy right now?
Yeah. As someone who's philosophically aligned with joy, like you recognize joy is one of your most successful behaviors, your most successful frequencies to align to. So what's the bread and butter? What's the drill and hammer of you getting there and maintaining that?
It is being able to understand your inner voice. Because a lot of the times we talked about this earlier, is that we're taking on so much information from other people. So clearing my space, clearing my energetic space, but also meditation is one of the things, whatever it can help you get rid of the trash of everybody else and embody what is yours, genuinely your voice. And then when you understand what is your voice, what is good about your voice and what is bad about your voice, and trying to filter through both of those and saying, okay, this is what I'd like to keep. This is what I would like to get rid of. Let me hang on to these things that are really, really positive. Oh, I can't see my daughter right now, but I can FaceTime her. Oh my gosh. So let me FaceTime her and let me bring joy to myself that way. buying some strawberry plants and planting them outside. Oh my gosh, I really can't go to the farmer's market as much as I would like to, but I can grow my own strawberries. I can bring joy to myself that way. Um, being able to see the sun come through the window and saying, you know what, man, I'm so grateful that this sun is showing up for us in these dark times, um, putting on lotion on my skin, like,
Oh,
ooh, it's so nice to just take my skin and just slowly slather on lotion all over myself and just enjoy that.
Reiki has to flow when you're putting on lotion. It has to. Like all the Bible always talks about anointing with oil, like when the head patriarch is putting the crown on the Queen of England, he like takes oil and draws a little cross on her forehead. They're like that oils and energy and touch is transmitting something profound, I think.
Yeah. And last but not least is breath.
Oh, you need that?
Being very aware. I'm sorry, what was that?
I said, oh, you need that?
Yeah. Being aware of my breath. And when I'm, a lot of the times if I'm not feeling good, I'm usually not breathing good.
Okay.
So, taking the time to go, center, allow myself to be present, allow myself to be in the moment. Like just doing that deep breath with you, I like found myself here, found myself very present with you, found myself appreciating this very moment. Gratitude, appreciation, love, breath. That would be my guide. Gratitude, appreciation, love, breath. In that order.
I love that.
That's how you can embody joy. We have to be grateful. We have to appreciate. We have to love. But before we can love others, we need to love ourselves. And we need to breathe.
I feel like, breathing and being conscious of breath and monitoring breath and incorporating that information into our thought process. Just being aware of how you're breathing from moment to moment, from thought to thought. It's like having a deep relationship to your animal self. That scared mammal in the woods that's afraid of predators, that's still, riding on 5 million years of evolution, that's still speaking through us, that fear response, that little scared animal in the woods. And breath is that way that we love that animal and pet its little head the most.
Yeah. We all need a little bit of petting. Yeah, but that would be my guide, my outline to helping. And that's how I help my clients embody joy, is to breathe, to embody gratitude, to appreciate, and to love. And sometimes a lot of us, we're thinking about this, oh, I'm going to be so happy when this is over. Well, how long is it going to take until it's over? How about we get really happy when we smear some peanut butter on our bread and allow that to be something that we can, oh yes, this peanut butter, this chocolate milk that I'm having with this peanut butter toast. Ooh, this makes me really happy. Let's take the small things and embody joy in those things, Ooh, I got toilet paper. I'm gonna be able to wipe myself nice and clean today. These very small details. We don't need this big grand ideology to embody joy.
Yeah.
We don't know how long this is gonna take. We don't know what's next. So let's what we do know is, you're going to have to eat something for lunch. So allow yourself to embody joy when you eat lunch. Allow yourself to embody joy when you know have personal you know goods.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, be excited to have internet. Be excited to, you know, you may not have a lot of income right now because of what's going on. A lot of us don't. Um, but be excited that if you can pay your rent right now, that you can. Be excited that you have a space where you can actually be and be able to process what's happening. Some people are homeless. So it's just, you know, taking the little things and expanding on those.
Yeah.
That's how I stay with my joy, expanding on the little things that would normally not be such grandiose items that would drive me into my happiness. I allow those things to, you know, help me explore my happy space.
Yeah. They certainly open up that channel, and they get your brain more prepared to both filter for it um, and incorporate, you know, incorporate events into your joyful map of reality. You
Mhm.
know, you plug things in, it's like you're prepared for them from that vantage point.
Mm.
Who is that band? Remember that band, that song we were all dancing to in like 2001? It was like joy, da, 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 and I get joy. You don't remember that?
Oh, you know what? Wasn't that on Sister Act 2? Was that part of the Sister Act 2 soundtrack?
It's like dun 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 joy.
I know who you're talking about.
My baby's going to sleep. Um, I was trying to find it on Spotify, maybe
You
like
have a
as a
new
fun
baby?
song. What's that?
You have a
Yeah,
new
yeah.
baby?
Well, I mean, I've been dating someone for since July, June, I think.
Oh, wow. Okay.
July, August. No, I think August. August. So not quite a year, but over half a year. Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. It's fun.
Good
One of
stuff.
in Greece.
Well, it's such an amazing thing to be able to quarantine with someone instead of
Oh my
quarantine.
God. Especially someone who cooks great Greek food. Although the cost of that is, thank God I have sweatpants with elastic waistlines. I need that
That's-
onesie. I tell you what, I need that onesie. I'm just gonna live in the onesie for a year from now.
yeah.
Well, does
Well,
this
it
feel
was
like a
just
good place? Does this feel like a good place to wrap up, or did you have anything else that you
yeah,
want?
yeah. I was just gonna say, I think it's a really good place to kind of, you know, tie off the knot and
Yeah.
appreciate you reaching out and allowing me to give you my uh, philosophy on how to navigate these times and to embody joy and talk about energy and Reiki and the energetic body. And I really
And it's
appreciate you.
so, you do embody it. It just flows through you. It's so obvious. Like you almost don't even need words. It's just like you just get it. You get it coming through you.
Mm.
Joy. Da, 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 dun, 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 dun.
Oh my God, I love you, Eric.
Love you too, nature. Have
Well,
a
thank you so much for everything. And let's try to do another one of these in the next 30 days if we're still in lockdown.
yep on it. That sounds great. And thank
Right?
you, Trish. Thank you, Richard, for showing up and giving us questions and things like that. That always makes this way more fun. So
Mm. Mm. Bye,
I'm gonna end
everyone.
the live stream. Stay on up. I'm gonna end the live stream.
Okay.
Bye.